The richest game in football is back. £170 million, Wembley glory, and Premier League football is on the line as Leeds face Southampton in this Sunday's Championship playoff final. And here to preview the game with me, who else but Sky Sports EFL editor Simeon Golam. So, Sim, for those who haven't seen the Championship season this term, how do we get here in terms of these two teams?
Well, Sam, I think there's no doubt that we've got the right final at Wembley on Sunday. It's Leeds versus Southampton, third versus fourth, the two teams that were undoubtedly cut above the teams they beat in the semi-finals in Norwich and West Brom. After two close legs in both games, in fact, Leeds comfortably beat Norwich in the second leg, Southampton comfortably beat West Brom in the second leg, and now we've got two teams who finished on 90 and 87 points respectively in the regular season. Two tallies, especially Leeds, who finished on 90, get promoted almost every other season, but obviously the incredible pace of Leicester and Ipswich at the top stopped that from happening. But it's going to be a quality final between two very, very good teams, both automatic promotion outfits in all but name, really.
Yeah, it's definitely been a brilliant season, but a lot of people, when they look at the Championship playoff final, will look towards the head-to-head record and how they fared in the regular league fixtures. Now, Southampton won both games, but both matches were at different points of the season, one at the beginning, one at the end. What can we learn from those two games?
In all honesty, not a huge amount. They were strange fixtures. Southampton beat Leeds earlier on in the season, just off the back of their worst run of the season, when everyone was expecting Leeds to win, after Southampton had lost 4 or 5 in a row, and Russell Martin was actually under pressure at that point for his job. And then they turned Leeds over, and then they beat them again on the last day of the season, when realistically Leeds could still potentially have gone up, but it wasn't actually going to happen, and Ipswich had won elsewhere. So it was a bit of a weird dead rubber game with a strange flat atmosphere. So for me, those fixtures are both out of the mind. Interestingly, we've already had the League One and Two playoff finals played last weekend, and both of those games, the team that won hadn't beaten the team they beat all season in either game until they played them at Wembley. In the League One final, for example, Oxford lost 5-0 to Bolton in March and then went and beat them 2-0 at Wembley. So it makes no difference whatsoever. So if I was a Leeds fan, I wouldn't be worried. And if I was a Southampton fan, I wouldn't be too overly enthusiastic about the fact they do have a good record against them this season.
It's very, very interesting. Now, let's talk about the managers. Now, we know a lot about Daniel Farke, not just from his time winning the Championship with Norwich, but also his time in the Premier League as well. We know a little less about Russell Martin. Now, you went down to the South Coast this week to go and meet him. Anything interesting that he had to say?
He's very thoughtful. Every word he says is all very methodical in the way he talks. He actually played under Daniel Farke for a very brief spell at Norwich. Daniel Farke kind of ended his Norwich career where he was captain back when he took over the club. He played for him for a few weeks and then got dropped and then never played for them again. He was a bit non-committal on that when I asked him about it. It's not really him. He's not really one for big wars of words who manages. He's very focused on his players. He's very passionate about what he does, and he has a very, very, very decisive philosophy in how he wants to play. It's percentage passing, it's keep the ball, and the Wembley pitch will suit their style of play. And if they get hold of the ball and keep it, then Leeds might struggle to get it back off them for large swathes of the games. They are going to have to deal with that.
From the dugout to the pitch then, and we've tasked you to pick out one key player from each team, both attackers it looks like?
Undoubtedly, for Leeds United, it's Crysencio Somerville, the Championship player of the season. He's a Premier League level player playing on the Championship, realistically, and he'll be back in the Premier League one way or another sooner or later. He has a very, very trademark trick, I suppose, of cutting in from that left side onto his right foot and bending one into the bottom corner, as we saw sort of Ian Robin do for so many years from the other side, and you just wonder why can't anyone stop it, but it's because he's very, very good at it.
Yeah.
But he can also kind of go the other way as well, and he's quick, he's got pace, he can run in behind, and he's got brilliant link up with the players around him, particularly Jorginho Ruta, the striker, and he is someone that Southampton are going to have to keep an eye on. For Southampton, it's Adam Armstrong, someone who Premier League followers will know because he played for several years at that level. He is lethal at this level in terms of goals and assists, and he scored twice in the second leg of the playoff semi-final against West Brom to help take them through to this final. So Leeds are very much going to have to keep an eye on him because he caused them problems in both league fixtures as well.
So, the big one, prediction, who's winning at Wembley?
Well, I am 1-1 for playoff finals so far. I've got one wrong and one right. For the Championship, I'm going to give Leeds to edge it. I just feel like it's their time to finally end this really bad playoff record they have. They've never won in 5 different playoff campaigns. They've lost at Wembley. They've lost everywhere in the playoffs, and it's time, I think, for them to really end that and get back into the Premier League.
Fair enough. It's time for the talking to stop. Who will take the final Premier League spot for next season? Over to you, Leeds and Southampton.